Good morning, everyone. We are continuing here today in the words of Wolbe, as he has a new level that we're trying to achieve over here in the concept of Emunah's Chachamim, which is the faith that we are going to have in our sages. And he writes, "B'Yoshua v'Kolei metzanu darga gevoya shel hispatlus l'das Moshe." When we look at the story in the Chumash of the Meraglim of the spies that were sent into the land of Israel to spy out the land, we know that there were 12 altogether. 10 of them succumbed to the challenge and they spoke Lashon Hara, words of gossip and evil speech about the land of Israel, which caused the Jewish people to cry. And from those cries came the destruction of 40 years in the wilderness, and eventually is the day of Tisha B'Av as well. 2 of those spies were Kalev and Yehoshua. And Kalev and Yehoshua did not fall prey to the tricks of the spies that were sent. They stayed strong in their Emunah and their faith, steadfast to their commitment to fulfilling the words of their teacher and their Rabbi Moshe Rabbeinu. And Rav Wolbe points out just how far and how deep their Emunah in Moshe Rabbeinu was. And it says like this: V'yahas Kalev es ha'am. Kalev quieted down the nation. Remember, it's pandemonium and hysteria that is breaking out at this moment. The Jewish people are besides themselves, worrying that they're not going to be able to survive their entrance into Eretz Yisrael. And they begin saying, "Oi, Moshe, why did you bring us here? What are we going to do?" And it says, Kalev Yas es ha'am, he quieted down the nation. V'yoymer, and he said the following words: Ale na'ale, we can certainly go up. V'yirashnu oisa, we will inherit the land. Ki yachol nuchala, because we are certainly able to conquer and to inherit the land of Eretz Yisrael. And Rashi points out, Ale na'ale, what does it mean that we will certainly go up? Afilu hi b'shamayim, even if Eretz Yisrael was in the heavens. V'oimer asu sulamois v'alu sham, and Moshe Rabbeinu would have told us, build ladders and go up to that land to conquer it. Natzliach b'chol devarav, we would be successful in all of the words that Moshe Rabbeinu has stated and told us over. Kach nireis emunas chachamim. This is what Emunah's Chachamim, what the faith and the trust that we have in our sages is truly all about. Even when the words of the Chachamim, of the sages that we come in contact with, seem to be very distant from our seichel, from our logical reasoning, from what even makes sense to us, Aleinu levatel estatenu ledaitam. It is incumbent upon us to be mevatel, to subjugate our das, our understanding, ledaitam, to their understanding. They know so much more than we do. They're so much more connected with the Rebbeinu Shalom. Torah is something that is flowing in their hearts, in their minds, in their neshama, and it is coming down to this generation. So we should listen to ourselves who watch television, who are surfing our web all day long, ourselves that are speaking Lashon Hara in the coffee shops, ourselves who don't have the proper Shalom Bayis, ourselves who don't know how to treat our children with the proper respect and to raise them to be ehrlich, sincere, nachastik Yidden, ourselves who drive around the streets of Los Angeles, California, and we look at billboards that we shouldn't be looking at, ourselves we should trust. The Chachamim, whose minds are pure, whose minds are enveloped in Torah, enraptured in the Kedusha of the Shechina, when they come and they tell us something as difficult as it might sound to grasp, we have to trust in our Emunah's Chachamim that they themselves know the Ratz and they know the will of the Rebbeinu Shalom 1,000 times, if not more, better than we do. There is a story with Rav Moshe Feinstein that he once issued a very controversial halachic decision, and he was getting a lot of flack for the decision that he had rendered. And people began saying, "Oh, Moshe Feinstein, he lives in America, he reads the newspaper, he sees what's going on in the world, and that's why he could say such a controversial halachic decision that doesn't seem to sit well with the majority of the people that heard what he had to say." So they came to Rav Moshe, the Gadol Ador, the leader of the generation, and they told him that there were groups of people that had complaints against him, that perhaps his living in America had influenced his thinking process, and that's why he was being so lenient in this area when he should have been much more stringent. And Rabbi Moshe Feinstein said about himself, from the time that I was Oila al Daiti, which means from the time that I was young enough to already begin to understand how precious the vessel of my mind is, that I have to leave it pure and make sure that nothing goes inside of there. He says, I promise you that there's nothing that has gone into my head besides Torah. That's it. He was kulai, completely enveloped in the Torah. There was nothing else influencing his thoughts. And that's Amunas Chachamim. When we find those Torah leaders and those sages and those educators that are on that darga, on that level, where the only thing that's inside of them is Torah, we have to have very deep amunah in them. We have to trust in their decisions, in their advice, in the direction that they're trying to lead us. And even if they would tell us to build ladders and climb up to Shemaim, to the heavens, we would believe, Natzliach bechol dvarav, certainly we will succeed in all of their words and the advice and the direction that they're leading us in. May we be zeicha to find such leaders, such chachamim, such sages in our lives, that we can rely upon them to open our eyes to see the beautiful world of Torah and of mitzvahs, and that we should have a greater understanding of what is truly the Ratzon Hashem, the will of HaKadosh Baruch Hu in our lives. Wishing everybody a wonderful day.